Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Align podcast. My name is Ruhi, and it's so good to be back with yet another episode, bringing you fresh perspectives that spark thoughts, reflections, and meaningful conversations. Whether you are a believer in the law of attraction or simply someone curious about how your thoughts and beliefs shape your reality, trust me, this episode is for you. We often hear phrases like manifest your dream life or speak it into existence. But what does that really mean? And more importantly, how do we move beyond vision boards and affirmations to truly align our mindset, emotions, and actions? And to help us explore the deeper meaning of manifestation, joining me today is a wonderful guest, Sally-Ann, who brings real life experiences and practical insights into how manifestation actually works. Sally-Ann, it's so good to have you on my show. Welcome, and I'm so excited to have you today.
Thank you. I feel the same way. So I love to be able to chat with you again and talk to your audience about manifestation and how really to go forward so you can live your best life.
Well, you have already set the energy level high, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. So, before we get started, I got an opportunity to know you personally. How about our audience? Could you please share a bit about yourself?
I would be honored. I own a company called Heaven's Light Wellness. My name is Sally-Ann, and I am a clairvoyant, but I'm also I won't say newly. So I've been following my passion for 8 years ago. I left the corporate world. I retired from the corporate world to do this 100% of the time, which I call my heart work. But I am a gratitude expert, a manifestation expert, an intuitive. So while I do group events, I also do individual events and have clients all over the world where I can help people understand what their next step is to get unstuck or live their best life. So I've been very blessed to have a few number one international bestsellers, and I'm an author. And so it's just such a pleasure to share this gift that I have with others in the world. So again, they can continue to go in the places that they need to go so they can live a full life.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Let me ask you the first big question. What does manifestation mean to you on a personal level? And I would love to hear you first. How did you first discover it in your life? Was there any specific moment?
Let's see. I think manifestation is actually telling the universe what you want. And then knowing, here's the key to manifestation. The key is understanding that you deserve it. So if I asked your audience to raise their hand, how many people want to win $10 million? A lot of people may say, I want to win $10,000 or $10 million. But then if I ask how many of you think you deserve to win $10 million, I'm going to say a bunch of hands go down. But that right there is that key to manifestation is, do I deserve what I want in life? Do I deserve what I think I need in my life? And through that clarity of going through and saying that I'm worthy, that I'm empowered, that I have this beautiful gratitude in life, then you can say, yeah, I'm worthy. I'm worthy of this. And I know, I may not want to win $10 million to go buy bubble gum, but maybe I want to win $10 million or earn $10 million. So this way I can help humanity or my neighbor or my family or my children or, my community. So there's different ways that you have complete control over to manifest and tell the universe what you want. Now, do I have a specific time in my life that has happened? Well, I can tell you a work one. I think the personal one is exactly what I'm doing right now. But let's start with work. So I was working with a very large film studio, and they were launching a movie. And one of the iconic images in this movie is a hot air balloon. So it was a random, I don't know. So Wednesday afternoon, had this big meeting. They left. And I remember saying to my assistant, gosh, I want a hot air balloon. I need a hot air balloon. We're going to make this promotion work. We were doing very large events at the time. The very next morning, I'm sitting there. I don't know. I was probably doing budgets or something. And my assistant called me and she's like, you need to meet these people. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I've never seen it happen this fast before. Again, I'm kind of confused. I'm like, what is she talking about? Sure enough, I go and I have this meeting with the people that are there. And it's the Boy Scouts that happened to have a hot air balloon and they wanted to do tethered rides on our property. And I looked at my assistant like, did that just happen? And she's like, again, it's never happened this fast before, ever. Within like 12 hours, I manifested what I knew we needed. And it wasn't for me personally, it was for the business that I was entrusted with helping, and all the other stores that were around us, and the giving of the money back into this charity, and also filling the complete circle and helping the movie studio with this beautiful tie-in. So that is just one of the funny things. It's like, oh my gosh, that did happen really fast. And then I will say that, so I left the corporate world. I'm going to say I retired from the corporate world about 8 years ago. And I have been an energy healer and a clairvoyant and helping people to connect with their guardian angels for, at that point, almost 30 years. And I knew that is something I deeply wanted to do. But how do you do it, right? Like, how do you leave this great job with these humans that you love and feeling really purposeful to go start your own thing again? And I started really thinking about it. What do I want? What do I want to call the company? What do I want it to be like? What would I offer? And I started writing all these things down. And so then I even called my vice president of the company and said, we need to figure out an exit strategy because I don't think I'm happy anymore. And that was my deal. 10 years prior, I had said to her, I will work here until it's no longer fun. And I called her up and I said, I have to tell you, this isn't fun anymore. And she was like, what does that mean? And I was like, it's time. I need to figure out like a transition that's good for the company and good for me. And so ultimately, yeah, I transitioned away from that job and thinking I was just the most employable person in the world that you would have known. Things just weren't going where they were supposed to be. You know, like, how do you know, like, the mayor of a town and not be able to get a job interview, or the vice president of a large radio station and not be able to get an interview for a position that you could run? So it was very strange because I was searching. I was like, what do I want to do? I'm not really sure. So within a month, I was doing some energy healing. I'm a Reiki master on some friends, and we were talking about like what's happening next in life. And I realized that there's this pivotal number in my life, and it's 13. And I realized there were 13 opportunities that should have been like slam dunks that didn't happen. And as soon as I realized that number 13, I started to laugh. And I was like, okay, source, okay, universe, I hear you. Now I hear you. I had to live through those 13 things, which, you know, thankfully, I don't even think was 2 weeks. And my girlfriend said, okay, are you ready to do what you're supposed to do? And I said, okay. And so I went into my home office and I decided this Heaven's Light Wellness is what I'm doing 100% of the time. Well, I have to tell you the funniest story, really, is I went to order my business cards. Mm-hmm. I clicked on the artwork and it was exactly 1 year prior that I had designed and made those business cards. I just never ordered them. And I was like, okay, that's a sign, right? That's the manifestation that a year ago I was working on this manifestation that I wanted it to come true. And then I became aware of it and pushed the button to buy. That was gladly, 8 years ago, and have been very blessed to talk to clients internationally and locally and nationally. And that was also one of my goals. How do I go forward? How do I reach as many people as possible? So using a phone, using FaceTime has been like this beautiful gift because I'm able to communicate with people across timelines. I mean, I know it's like morning here and night for you. I've talked to Australia. It's really amazing. And then I kind of put this all into this book of manifestation. So there is a manifestation guide that I developed over lots of time of learning and understanding to how to bring it down into biteable pieces. Because I think like the world right now, it's like, well, especially like in my case, I want a new career. Okay, well, that's ginormous, right? It's an elephant. It's an elephant in the room. How do I manage the elephant in the room? Well, I'm going to learn what it eats. I'm going to learn how to communicate. I'm going to learn how to ride it. I'm going to figure it all out. but it becomes very overwhelming. So, how do you break it up into little bits? So, that's what this manifestation guide does. It is about empowering yourself. It's the manifestation and empowering yourself to go forward, to understand what you need in your life, and even through a timetable. It's pretty powerful.
I think that's the simplest way that you could have explained about manifestation. And I loved your story. Thanks for sharing it so openly. And it's so amazing that how a single experience can open the door to something that shifts your entire perspective. So, a manifestation is often linked to the law of attraction, but for many, it can feel like a bit of mystery. I mean, me included. Can you share your thoughts on how manifestation works and how it's different from simply wishing for something? I know you spoke about your story, but can you just shed some light on this, like how manifestation works and how it's different from simply wishing for something that someone really wants?
Yes. So there's a phrase I heard a long time ago when I was in the corporate world in New York City, um and I really keep going back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like a dream is something you think about, right? Well, a goal is something you write down. So it could be the dream, but you write it down. It becomes in your journal. It becomes part of maybe yourself. And I'm a big pen and paper girl, but it could also be like what you put in your on your computer or your phone. And so once you have that goal written there and sitting there, then it's about focusing on that goal. What do I want this to be? How will it affect my life? And I think once you start integrating it, even in the back of your brain, about, okay, this is my goal. How will it affect my life? And is it attainable? And can I make this next step attainable? Then you start to manifest, right? An affirmation can be, I am worthy. I deserve it. I am a good, kind person. I am amazing at dot, dot, dot. But when you manifest, you're also giving the universe direction and permission to bring it to you. And one of my favorite phrases is the universe is working in my favor. And I say that almost every day. I know that the universe is working in my favor. Even when things don't work out, right? You're like, wait a minute, I didn't want that to happen. But then you wait a day, a week, a month, and you go, aha, the universe knew what to do for me because that's what I needed. And that's also a big part of manifestation, is that knowing or trusting that the universe is going to give you what you need, not what you want immediately. So
Mm-hmm.
having a little bit of that faith in there
Yeah.
makes a big difference in what comes forward for you.
Yeah. What you said is really right. A big difference. There's definitely a big difference between passively wishing something and actively aligning your energy and actions. It does make manifestation feel a lot more intentional and empowering, like how you called out about dream and goal. Until it's brought into action, it will remain a dream. So we hear about manifesting big dreams, but how does manifestation apply to everyday life, like managing stress or improving relationships?
Well, I love to call it a shift of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have a choice every single day. Is it going to be a good day or is it going to be a bad day? Right. And I have a friend who says, I got up on the other side of the dirt today, so it's going to be a good day. And that's how he starts his day every single day. He's like, look, I got up on the other side of the dirt. It's a good day. So his manifestation is that I'm going to have a good day. Like sometimes you'll say maybe there's a trip you want to go on and it's a real struggle, and, the alarm doesn't go off and you're half packed and you're running out the door, and people say, oh, it's going to be a terrible day, or this is going to be a terrible trip. I'm always like, don't say that. Like even people
Yeah.
in my own family, right? I'm like, stop setting that intention. You're bringing in all this negative energy and you're manifesting for that to be in the forefront when that's not the reality. Okay. You were human. The alarm didn't go off, right? You didn't set the alarm, and that you knew you should have packed well the day before, but guess what? We still made the plane. We may have ran and barely made it through, but we made it, right? So we're still sitting here. So let's realign our thinking and let's readjust and change our perspective. Shift that perspective to say, it's a good day. I'm on my trip. I'm on my journey. I'm going where I need to go. So if you can realign or shift your thought process
Mm-hmm.
throughout the day when ick happens, right? Like it happens. It's life. We can't be in control of everything around us and all of those around us, but we can be in control of ourselves and how we're going to handle that stuff, right? It's like, all right, it didn't start out the way I wanted it to be, but it's sure going to end the way I want it to be.
I love it. I love it how you said it. It not necessarily it started the way I had expected, but definitely it's going to end the way I would want. So that's definitely a strong perspective that one needs to have. And it really shifts the focus to being more mindful of our thoughts and emotions, which can definitely transform even the smallest interactions, is what I believe. A lot of people struggle with staying consistent when it comes to manifesting their goals. I can definitely say that when I started my podcasting journey, honestly speaking, initially I was quite consistent, but life happens and I was off track, and it took me quite some time to get back on track. So, what are some practical habits or mindset shifts that you would suggest for someone to be consistent?
I love this question and I love your sharing too. So thank you. I think the reality is that manifestation, just like life, is a living, breathing thing. And it moves and it shifts, and our goals shift for the moment. It's funny because I do call it like this shift of perspective and throughout the whole day. So I practice shifts of perspective throughout the whole day. And it's like at this moment, I am taking care of maybe you and myself because we're having this conversation, right? Um my business side, right? I'm taking care of a little bit of business and a little bit of personal, but like almost no, I don't know, nourishment, I'm going to say. But there's all these scales that happen throughout the day, right? So if you're choosing to take care of your child, that like becomes this big perspective shift or permission to take care of your child. And then you have a little bit of business here. Some moments you're going to take care of business a lot and just a little bit of relationship. So all those perspective shifts throughout the day, and they could change within the moment, right? Within 10 minutes. It doesn't mean you've lost your goal. Doesn't mean you've lost your image or where you want to go, which is what you're truly manifesting and telling the universe. It's just shifting. And we have to be open to the shifts in life because, just like a building that sways in the wind, even if it's 100 stories high, you need the bend because otherwise you'd break. And so giving yourself permission to shift throughout the day or what your goals are is really important to staying, I'm going to say, pliable and soft, but still have this strong core of what you want to happen. And so we have to remember that the universe is still working for us. We're still telling the universe, this is what I want. And so it's still going to happen. I'll tell you this little story. So I do these manifestation board classes. Last year or not this last January, the January before, I did a whole bunch of classes. And one of the classes, I sat down, I actually made my own vision board. So because before the class, I always have to make like whatever I do better for the next year, right? So I'm working on the manifestation book and I'm going through the process. And I was like, yes, I'm going to go from forward to end to make sure every element makes sense and people can understand it and they can execute it. So I made a vision board. So I'm showing it at the last class and I hold it up because I like to put it in a frame and make it pretty and put it in front of my office. So this way I get to see it and, look at it all the time. I'm holding up the board and I had this like crazy aha moment. So I had drawn 3 books because I knew that I wanted to be a published author. And I knew that one was coming in. So I drew 3 little books and I wrote number one bestseller. And this year I looked at it and I went, oh my gosh, I drew 3 books. I have 3 books. So one hit number 1 international bestseller. We're doing the 2.0 version of the gratitude journal. And then the empowerment approach is in with the editor. So it was so profound for me that I was like, oh my gosh, like I actually wrote it. And have I focused on those 3 books? No. Did every single day I say, I need 3 books, I need 3 books, I need 3 books? No, absolutely not. But did I put it on my vision board? Did I manifest it? Did I tell the universe what I wanted? Yes. Did this one book come in and give me this great opportunity with these wonderful people? And I wasn't aware of it, right? I knew the gratitude book was being written or being produced. I knew that the empowerment approach was being written, but the cracking the rich code, who's endorsed by Tony Robbins, that I didn't know was going to come in. So the universe worked in my favor to bring it in and then fulfill the 3 books that I had written on my manifestation board. So patience is a good thing, but understanding that if you really know that that's what you want, that that's what you deserve, that the everyday life part doesn't really, I'm going to say, doesn't really get in the way. It just maybe makes us, for me, it made me more grateful when the opportunity came in.
Well, congratulations on all the 3 books that you have mentioned, and I'm pretty sure the manifestation that you thought it came to life. So kudos to you. And it's such a helpful reminder that staying aligned doesn't have to mean doing everything perfectly, but rather being intentional and showing up for yourself in every small way each day. Now, in your experience,
Amen.
yeah, I mean, in your experience, how much of manifestation is about mindset versus taking action?
Wow. Well, that's a great question. Oh my gosh. Here's the thing. You have to move forward, right? You have to take action. You can't just sit on the couch, drinking a soda, twiddling your thumbs, saying, I want to be successful. There needs to be some action. Like you still have to move forward with it. Now, if you wanted to be, the world's best soccer player, you don't just play with the ball in your hands, right? You're out there. You join a club team or you go out and have fun and you coach people. And so you're taking action, but there should still be joy in there. So, and that's why I say maybe you teach kids how to play because that brings you joy. And then that helps manifest the joy that that if you're a professional soccer player, you can do this and you can bring joy into your life. Now I know it's very aspirational that example that I used, and a small percentage of people become professional athletes, but it's to prove that you need to step forward, right? If you want to be the best programmer in your job, you have to take classes. You have to be open to learning new things. And either it's through classes or through how you can manipulate or trusting your brain that it's going to help things click and learn and moving forward. So you still always have to move forward. I mean, that's what living life is, right? Sitting on a couch or sitting in a hole is not going to bring you anywhere. You will exist, hopefully, right? You'll continue to exist, but will you continue to live? I don't think so. I'd like to challenge that. So moving forward, living a life, deciding what you want to do because God gives us free will, is living the life to get what you need, what you deserve, what you want, which is manifestation.
I love how you describe that balance between believing and doing. And it's a powerful reminder that manifestation isn't about just sitting back and waiting. It's about showing up with intention and being willing to grow. I think that's very important. Now, sometimes we manifest things that we later realize don't align with our true values or long-term goals. How do you ensure that these things that you're manifesting are truly in harmony with your purpose?
Well, I think that sometimes your purpose changes. Like I have children. So I had my children, like in my 30s. So did I manifest this great career in New York City when I was in my 20s? Absolutely. I had the best career, the best, awesome, most fun time working hard, meeting friends, understanding new things. Did I want to have children? Absolutely. So I chose to have these 2 human beings and I chose to be the best mother I could. Did I still work? Yes. Did I have the balance? Yes. But when that balance changed, did I change? Yes. And I wound up staying home with my kids for 4 years because that's what I wanted. That's what I manifested. And then, 10 more years later, I decided, okay, I want to go back into something of the corporate world. And I remember I was home. I had started small businesses here. I started a community theater here. And I said, you know what? I think I need a career. I didn't use the word job. And I think there's this fine tuned difference between that. I needed a career close to home. Like it needed to be within 10 minutes from home. That gave me flexibility, that had a certain salary range, that I needed to have people that I cared about and a mission and be able to be philanthropic and make a difference. And I had all this list in my head that I would think about, right? I would fantasize. I wasn't going forward to look on a job board, or I was putting it out there. And so, yeah, I think it was in my late 40s and I got this awesome job. No, maybe not. Maybe I was in my 40s, early 40s, and I got this job that I absolutely loved. And it was literally handed to me. I met this person at this event and wound up having coffee with her, and then was called in very quickly for an interview with the vice president who happened to be in town. And I was offered the job that night. And I loved it. I took it. I worked there for 10 years and absolutely loved every moment of it until I didn't. And then it was like, okay, what's my next dream? What's my next chapter in life, right? Because that's the other part. Life, I think, is life is full of these chapters where you learn things about yourself, about others. Sometimes you help others along the way, and then you make a new dream. So this manifestation is really this process of living my life to the fullest. My dad used to say I would fling open these doors of opportunity, and I'm like, yeah, I want to know what's on the other side. Like, let's go. Let this opportunity showed up. It's exactly what I was thinking. I'm going through. I want to walk through it. So, it changes. So I try not to say this was a bad decision, because I don't think anything I've done, you have me thinking, but I don't think anything I've done I've really regretted. I don't think I have a lot of regret in my life. But if you do, like, forgive yourself, brush yourself off, say, bad choice. I'm moving on, because guess what? Now I've learned. I've learned that this situation is not for me. So now I've learned, and I'm going to manifest and tell the universe what I do want, because I've learned what I didn't want. So that's the other way of walking through life.
I really appreciate how you brought in the idea of alignment with deeper values and not just surface level wants. And trust me, it's easy to get caught up in manifesting things that sound good on paper, but don't actually fulfill us. And your approach to checking in with your purpose is way too powerful. Do you think there are limits to what we can manifest?
The short answer is no. I don't think there are limits. I think the only limit is this. The only limit is your self-belief.
Mm-hmm.
I think the world puts on limits. And I think that if you can trust yourself, right, your intuition, trust that what you're hearing is right for you, and that someone, and I would like to be that person right now, to give you permission to live your best life, to give you permission to move forward and do what you believe, that you need to do. I think that's the limit, right? Not everybody has permission or understands they have permission, but I'm going to tell you that you have permission. Go do it. Why would it show up if you didn't have permission to take it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean steal it. Like, you're not going to take something, but you're going to take the opportunity. You're going to look at that and be like, yes, that aligns with my energy. Yes, that makes me happy. Go do it. Step forward. See what you can learn. Life is such a beautiful journey. That'd be amazing.
So you're saying that there is no limit, but for instance, are there things that are simply beyond our control or not meant for us, no matter how hard we try to manifest them?
Okay, so that I believe that there are definitely things outside of our control. Absolutely. Because other people's free will may get in our way, right? But I do believe that if you're manifesting in this positive light, that most positive things will happen. There is a school of thought out there that if you think negative, then you're attracting all this negative energy. I don't know if you're attracting this negative energy or you're just aware of it. Where I think when I live in this light and this faith, and trust me, I have moments of negative, right? But for the most part, I shift those negative thoughts around for me. So this way, it doesn't feel negative to me. Like, so my girlfriend, she had a water leak in her kitchen and she woke up to like 4 inches of water in her kitchen one day. And I was going over there to drop something off. And I walked in and she's like in tears in this puddle. And I was like, oh my gosh, good for you. And she looked at me like I had 25 heads. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you wanted a new kitchen. Now you're getting a new kitchen. Like, your insurance company is going to pay for you to get a new kitchen. Isn't that great? And it took her a while to come around to that thought. So she got a new kitchen. Isn't that great? Like, yeah, maybe not the way you want to do a new kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to have time and you want to clean out your drawers and donate the things you don't need and then do it. But sometimes it just shows up. So that negativeness really turned out to be something good. So
Well,
those things still happen. It's just how you look at it, right? How you align your energy differently.
I see it as, balanced perspective, and it's
Mm.
definitely a reminder that manifestation isn't about forcing the outcomes, but about co-creating with something bigger than ourselves. What's your perspective on the role of gratitude in manifestation?
Gratitude is a super powerful tool that I think we overlook. It is scientifically proven, right? It changes your brainwave patterns on how you look at things when you live in that gratitude every day. And sometimes we need reminders, right, of our gratitude to be really specific about certain things. But I think what also happens with gratitude is that it helps balance us. It balances our energy. What am I grateful for today? And I love this question about like, what am I grateful for today? Because it could be as simple as this is the best tasting watermelon I've ever had, or the best tasting watermelon for this season, right? It doesn't have to be like profound for the rest of the world or the rest of your life. It could be, oh my gosh, I really needed this piece of watermelon right now. I'm grateful for that. I know this sounds redundant, but like I'm grateful for red lights. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm kind of a speed demon. I try not to be, but I kind of am. I'm a little lead foot when I drive. And one day I was driving to the office or driving someplace, and there's only like 6 lights in my little town before we get to the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's green lights all the way, baby, right? I'm like a green light girl. I'm driving and I'm hitting a red light. And then I go like another block and I'm hitting another red light and I'm hitting another red light. And I was like, oh, I'm late. Why am I hitting all these red lights? So by the time I got to the 5th light, which of
Mm-hmm.
course I hit a red light, I saw up just like 30 feet in front of me, there was a massive car accident. The crunch was terrible. There were people injured. And I thought, holy moly, that could have been me. If I was 30 seconds sooner, that would have been me. And so I say, okay, thank you, universe. Thank you for keeping me safe. So, because maybe I'm so used to green lights that when I get a red light, I think about it. I'm like, am I speeding? Am I going too fast? Am I not being aware? And that's just like an everyday life experience. So it helps me check in. And then I'm grateful for red lights. Like at that day, I was like near tears. I was so grateful that the universe was working in my favor, that I was hitting red lights, that I was given the opportunity to be present and to be aware. So I think sometimes when things happen, we also have to look at it again. It's a shift of perspective, right? So I'm grateful for those things. And sometimes I am grateful for heartache or grateful for something not working exactly the way I want it to work because I've learned something or someone has come up to me and said, that's never happened before, but you made it happen. And that makes me feel worthy, smart, like I know what I'm doing. So sometimes those things that don't seem like they're perfect, I can look at, and I hope the world can learn to look at and have gratitude for that.
Well, that's such a beautiful way to put it. And I resonate so much with the idea that gratitude creates space for more. Now, if I may ask you, how does cultivating gratitude for what we already have impact the process of manifesting for what we want?
Gratitude for what we already have can help us manifest what we want is a great question. So when we can be grateful for what we currently have,
Mm-hmm.
like, and sometimes it's like gratitude comes in like these giant buckets, right? Grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for my health. If you know that like these fundamentals are taken care of and you know that you have people that support you, right? You're grateful for the people that support you. Manifestation's an easy skip, right? Because you don't have to get through like these foundational issues. You don't have to worry that someone's going to think I'm like, the people that love me think I'm bananas, and that I'm taking too many of risks, or that I don't have the strength to go forward. So when you have this gratitude, because it's the knowing, you know this, then it's, I'm going to say, fairly easy to say, okay, dream, become my goal so I can manifest this, because look, I have all the support behind me. And it could be support within self, right? Not everybody has this wonderful support system with partners or friends or parents that are like your biggest cheerleader. So sometimes it's just knowing within yourself, like if you're your biggest cheerleader. And we say, go find your team, right? Go find the people that are going to help get you to home plate, like, and know that you can do it. Because those are the people you want surrounding you when you start to manifest greatness. And that's the key, is that you can be great, and whatever that means to you.
Yeah. But what I believe is that, when we are rooted in appreciation, we actually attract from a place of wholeness and not desperation. What do you think about?
Oh my gosh, I love your words. I love all these words you've been saying. I completely agree, right? Because desperate feelings lead to desperate acts.
Yeah.
And I think when you're desperate, you're not aligned with who you really are. It's not your truth. When you're in great fear, that desperateness comes in, and great fear is not who you authentically are.
What's one small change or action someone can take today that would help them to align more with their desire and begin manifesting more efficiently?
I would say dream. Give yourself permission to dream, because it all starts there.
Yeah.
If you can dream this, then you can write it down. Then you can build it out in your brain. Then you can manifest it. But I think a lot of us have forgotten how to dream.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a reminder that alignment doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's about taking those intentional actions. And I'm sure that's something they can put into practice every day when they really want to manifest something in their life. Now, finally, as we wrap up, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your work? Any resources that you would like to recommend for them to deep dive into manifestation?
Yes, Heaven's Light Wellness is the name of the company, and that's how everything is under heavenslightwellness.com. You can make an appointment. We can talk about what your goals are in your life and connect. So this way we can help you move forward. And every social media, it's all Heaven's Light Wellness. So follow us on YouTube or sign up for our newsletter. And then every month we offer some new free direction and information. So this way you can take what you need in your life to move forward.
Thank you so much for sharing all those details. I'm pretty sure that our listeners will want to learn more about you. We are at the end of this episode. And Sally-Ann, thank you so much for joining us today. And I truly appreciate you sharing your wisdom, your experiences with our audience. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I have learned a lot, something new about manifestation altogether. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for being such an intelligent host with really thought provoking questions. I can see that you will grow in this business because you are so thoughtful and cued in and aware of what the world needs. So thank you for letting me have the honor to be in your presence, really.
I totally love this conversation, and thank you so much for everything that you have shared today. And to all who have logged in, who have tuned in, thank you so much for spending this time with us. And if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and share with someone who might find it really helpful. I'll see you all in the next episode of Let's Align podcast. Until then, take care and keep manifesting with purpose. Thank you so much, Sally.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.